to Soldier Field. He was there for all of it. Adam Jahns, I know we got a ton for the locker room, but just in the moment, in your seat, with the ball in the air and then seeing the reaction, what was it like just to be there for that Chicago Bears moment that we'll all remember forever, really?
I mean, which moment, though? Like the onside kick, the Jahdae Walker touchdown, then you have the DJ Moore touchdown. Like all three of those moments, Carm, are pretty unbelievable. They don't – teams don't recover onside kicks anymore. You have to announce this to your opponent, and they're rarely practiced. And then they have Jahdae Walker, the undrafted rookie, make that play on 4th and 4. It's just unbelievable. So those three moments, of course, DJ Moore, but it's the whole sequence, like starting with the onside kick, to me, is just unbelievable. I've never covered anything quite like it from the Chicago Bears side of things with them actually winning.
Jahns, what was the atmosphere like in the stadium? Because, one thing we talked about pregame was about playing with a lead to kind of keep the vibes going, kind of keep the momentum going. And then Whoop brought up earlier in the show in our Players Only segment how he thought them not scoring on that first drive and that play call from Ben Johnson, which we really haven't gotten into too much, that was their moment to take the lead. And instead of scoring there, they ended up playing from behind the entire game. So I'm just kind of curious how you think that might have impacted the crowd at all.
The energy definitely fluctuated. I would say it kind of emptied after that 4th and inches trick play that went over the head of Kyle Monangai. Now, after the game, Drew Dahlman, of course, being the professional that he is, took the blame for the bad snap. But that play, that decision to call that play, kind of took the air out of the building. It didn't really change, I want to say, until the onside kick was recovered, until the Bears fans in the stadium thought they had a chance at this because of everything that's kind of transpired this year. And then, at the end of the game, DJ Moore makes that catch. It was quite the scene. I don't know if you saw this on the broadcast, but so they're mobbing DJ Moore in the corner of the end zone. And there are so many Packers just immediately leaving the field, immediately left for the locker room, where the handshakes, I don't even know if they really happened. I know some players lingered behind, but the celebration is going on with the Bears. Some players are coming over to have handshakes with the Packers, but a lot of them, I want to say, headed towards the locker rooms. And then I heard the loudest Bear Down song sang here that I could ever remember. I can't recall a time hearing that song sung so loudly here at Halas Hall. It almost shook. Not I said Halas Hall, Soldier Field. It almost shook with the voices of everyone here in this building singing that song.
Yeah, that had to be a special moment there. But you talk about the quarterback. I know it wasn't perfect at all times, but this thing about Caleb being this clutch player and coming up in the clutch in big-time situations, talk about what you saw from him, particularly in that fourth quarter and overtime.
Corey, there was a time in this game you could have argued that Malik Willis, the Packers' backup quarterback, was outplaying Caleb Williams. And that would be an unfortunate storyline to be talking about right now, to be writing about for tomorrow morning, to have that, blasted all over Monday morning radio to discuss, not to mention all the national networks. That would have been a bad storyline for the Chicago Bears. But you know what? Caleb Williams came up big in the biggest moments in this game. Again, it's what he's done all year. I want to say DJ Moore called him Iceman. Jahdae Walker called him Iceman. Josh Blackwell called him Iceman. The entire locker room is getting behind this nickname. The 4th and 4, under pressure to Jahdae Walker, an outstanding play. And then obviously they practiced that one to DJ Moore, but that was an absolute dime, under pressure, about to get hit. So all the bad stuff that maybe transpired early on in this game for Caleb Williams, I don't want to say it's erased, but the story is different because he comes through again and again in these moments that are really bigger than all the other moments that preceded earlier on in the game.
Let's talk about the DJ part of the catch, and I know you guys caught up with him afterwards, and he shouted out Virginia, he shouted out Ben Jahns.
Did you read that quote yet, Carm?
I did. It's on your Twitter that he credited Virginia with the amount of wins that the Bears are getting in probable fashion this year. Which, by the way, who's going to argue with him at this
if you
point?
believe in that stuff,
For real.
it's been an incredible year.
Did he mention the Pope? It's a
Well, there's that. I actually am on the
Virginia
Pope.
is chilling up there. Like, I don't know, man. Like, DJ, I loved where DJ was going, but you could fill in the rest of what was said, Johnsy.
So that play, it has been practiced much, but in DJ Moore's words, as soon as they stepped to the line, like him and Caleb made eye contact, and they knew that play was open. They knew they were gonna take that shot in that moment. And then have you seen the replays of that, Carm? Like, he is. I mean, the defender's hands are all over him. Like go ahead.
Yeah, well, Hogue was videoing Braggs. I don't know if you've seen that video, and I was explaining to him, I'm like, it was an insane throw, and it was an unbelievable catch. Like that
it was pass interference.
I mean, that was the degree of difficulty was incredibly high. I guess I'm assuming that's all. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. Like, yeah, he's absolutely being interfered with. His hands are all over him. The defender's hands are all over him. An unbelievable catch, especially in that moment. You know how this works. Those get like replayed, and for more often than it should. Like, that ball is on the ground, like it's coming back, but not in this case. DJ Moore completed the entire process of what the catch is now in the NFL. But I just like the fact that you had a moment between DJ Moore and Caleb Williams again, where they knew before that ball was even snapped what was going to happen, what they were going to try to do, and then they went out and did it.
John,
you know what that kind of reminds me of a little bit is when you watched the quarterback thing on Netflix that showed the different quarterbacks. It reminded me in the offseason of watching Ben Johnson working with Jared Goff, and they dialed up the Sam Laporta play at practice, and it was a very similar route. I know it's a different concept, but same kind of location on route. And and when they talk about we worked on this, it took me back to that, and it's like, wow, what he did in Detroit is obviously transferring over here. But there was some symmetry in that moment. Go ahead, Hogue. I didn't mean.
No, I was just gonna say, Johns, I think it's a good comparison. Johns, I opened the show by saying this was the biggest Bears win that I've seen since I started covering the team, and I think I can't even really think of another one that would rival it, to be honest with you. If they had beaten the Eagles in that playoff game, I mean, that would have been on the table, but they didn't. So I mean, is there anything else coming to mind for you?
Devin Aroma should do.
That's before 2011.
I didn't know if you were around for that one.
Yeah, 2011 was my first season. 2012 for Johnsy. I can't really think of another one.
Like, just in terms of the vibe and feel of this season, like, I wonder what it was like to cover that Mike Brown year. What was it, 2000, 2001, where he's making, like, those amazing plays every single week. They had those comebacks against the 49ers and the Browns that year. Yep. Braggs, refresh my memory. They got that right.
2001,
right?
They made the playoffs back-to-back weeks with pick sixes for a touchdown to win the game. And also in that Browns game, they needed a Hail Mary to take it to overtime to then Mike Brown have the pick six to win it.
The Arizona game,
Allen.
we are what they thought they were. That game was
But
unbelievable.
the point is, this game goes down like in those games, like that.
100%.
We're going to be talking
classic.
about 20
the
years.
Midway Miracle.
Yeah, the Midway Miracle by the shirt, Johnsy.
Yeah.
So,
but Hogue, the best. It came against the Packers.
Yeah.
Like, how often have we ever said like
Never.
in all seriousness, never against the Green Bay Packers? The Brett Favre Packers, the Aaron Rodgers led Packers, and now the Jordan Love led Packers. Like, absolutely not. This has never happened before. They like, there are so many things working against the Bears in this one, and some of that's their own doing, especially with some of the penalties. But Hogue, to your question, I can't recall ever covering a game like this to go down like this, especially against the Green Bay Packers.
Like, I feel like the best way Packer fans should be getting through this tonight would be actually seeking advice from Bears fans. like, how does this work?
Yeah.
Because to have what happened, if you think about it from their perspective, they like have a bad snap, fumble, fourth down situation, get nothing, and then it's Caleb throwing the dagger, sort of the prayer ball. We've been talking about it here on this show and Hogan Johns. Jordan loves prayer balls. That's kind of what that was in some ways. And he comes down with it. Like, this is, all right, Packer fans, this is what it feels like. I mean, Bears fans have been dealing with this exactly for 30 years.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, there is such there's so many unbelievable qualities to this game. But if you listen to some of these players, like it's Cairo Santos explaining that he has to hurry up on his onside kick because the wind is not cooperating with him, where he has to lean it and lay it still, not exactly how he wants it or practice it because he can't trust the wind. Not only that, he has to hurry up and kick it on his onside kick. Not only that, guys, but they've practiced that before, where his teammates are now ready for him to hurry up this kick in this situation. And then they go out and execute it like they did. Like Noah Sewell, he's not being talked about enough because he makes contact with Romeo Dobbs to really force that fumble. Yep. And then you have Josh Blackwell getting in. But again, it's DJ Moore, again, explaining like, yes, this is a moon ball, a prayer shot thrown to him, but that's something they practiced and something that they identified going into this game that could work given this right situation.
And this is kind of a sidebar at this point, but look, I get it. The results are the results, and I understand why fans have been frustrated with special teams at times this season. But when I get asked, like, why I defend Richard Hightower so much, it's because regardless of what the results are, I can tell you from, like, what Jahns just said there with Cairo, this guy knows every rule there is to know. They work on every little detail like that. Like, I know they are working to be prepared, and they go through so many little things like that exactly. And I think that's why earlier in the game, and I'm sorry if I missed this earlier because we did play Cairo, why they waited, not the one where they should have kicked it earlier, because I do want an explanation on that whole 2-minute warning thing. And that would be an example of something that deserves to be criticized. But that's not necessarily on Hightower. That's more the head coach calling that in maybe. Anyway, earlier in the game, they waited forever to kick the ball. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yep. And then he drilled it. And I'm sitting there going, I bet you he's waiting for the wind to die down. Like the break in the wind to kick it.
Well, but did you see on the replay after what they showed? On the broadcast, I don't know if you caught this, Jahns, on that particular kick, the reason they were waiting is because the snapper
he knocked the leg over.
Telling the guard on the right, hey, move your leg, because his leg was like kind of underneath the center's snapping launch point. And so they were like, hey, move over a little bit. And so you could just see how they were taking their time. So obviously that's a good segue just in terms of, Cairo and everything he did in this game. And Jahns, I think how big of a fan I am of Cairo. Like
president of the Cairo.
Well, we have worked things out. I apologized earlier on the broadcast for, the things I say and do, and we all understand how stupid I am. But what did you hear from Cairo just on his day? Because honestly, he saved the Bears. He kept them alive in this thing.
Hey, he was arguably the Bears' best player for a long part of this game, to be honest with you. Like, I'm starting my likes and dislikes for Hogan Jahns tomorrow, and he is up there like is my number one like going into. I got to take Adam Hogue's special teams thunder away from him. I think Cairo Santos was that good. Like, the win was a problem today, guys. And Hogue, you brought up what happened in that final 2-minute situation. Cairo kind of explained it. I don't know. Maybe that was after I turned off the camera, but like at some point, he just needed to feel good about the kick. He couldn't rush the kicks. He had to make the kick. And given the circumstances, given the win, I mean, you guys saw it on the broadcast. The uprights are literally shaking. He needed to feel good about the kick itself. Like, that became his priority, making the kick. He knew he had to get it, to make the 2-minute warning. He understood, like, the scenario. But at some point in his mindset, making the kick itself, like, prevented him from hurrying up too much, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, see, I think that's the mental state with the win, and just kind of like it's kind of like hovering over a golf ball when it's on a windy day, when you're just like kind of got to wait for the right moment.
So let's just talk that through though, because when we were watching it, in the moment, I thought they were going to call timeout, and Briggs and we were sitting there like, kick it before the 2-minute warning, so you get that timeout, which didn't work out. And then we were having the discussion, are you onside kicking or you're kicking off? We all thought they were kicking off. I mean, what did you think?
Well, here's the funny thing, and this goes to show you, like, Johnsy, what Ben Johnson has showed us this year in terms of confidence. Because one of our working theories that at least came up was maybe he knew he was onside kicking it the whole time and was like, well, if we're doing that, we're getting the ball back. We actually want the clock to bleed down, so we don't care about the 2-minute warning. You can make that argument if your strategy is we're going to kick the onside kick, then the 2-minute warning doesn't really matter as much anymore. Of course, on the other side of that, you go, well, if you don't get it, you need the timeouts. I understand that, but it was just like that's at what Ben Johnson has already shown us, like, for us to mentally get to that point, like almost giving him too much credit is kind of funny.
I would think if you knew you were onside kicking that you would call the timeout because you wouldn't be worried about having them and to give yourself more time. I don't know, Jahns, what were you thinking in the moment of what they were doing?
Oh, I thought they were rushing to get to beat the 2-minute warning. But then talking to Cairo later, he would explain to you that there were no gimmies in this game. Like even the extra points, like these weren't easy kicks because of how gusty the wind was, how much it was moving and how much it was swirling and how much you had to like literally adjust what you're doing as you're like backing up and measuring it one last time. So the degree of difficulty for Cairo Santos was set on high today. And I think in that moment, I think he just needed to give himself a couple extra moments to make sure he made that kick to set themselves up for all the heroics that came later.
Correct. I mean, the timeouts are important. The 2-minute warning is important, but if you don't make the kick, none of it matters. So he made the kick, then figure out the rest out later. Obviously, the other story of this night, and maybe you guys have talked about it, and I've just blacked out this entire time while we've had this conversation, but Jahns, we set you up when you joined us on Thursday. I think all of us this week have kind of taken a turn calling Jahdae Walker, so I'm sure you had no doubt that Jahdae Walker was going to tie the game to end it in regulation.
Just an unbelievable play. Like honestly, he makes the first catch of the game, then he makes the last catch, at least on that 4th and 4 in regulation to set things up for overtime. But like you're surprised by it because he's an undrafted rookie. They're missing Roma Dunze. They're missing Luther Burden. The passing game hasn't really been working, but to see him that wide open, to see the Bears concept in that moment like click, it's just another great story in a season full of great stories of these unsung heroes. Getting that Sean Wright, we really haven't even talked about tonight, like forcing that fumble. Yeah. Josh Blackwell has now blocked a field goal for a win and recovered an onside kick to help a win. There's just so many different heroes to emerge from this Bears season, and Walker is just the next one in line. It's quite fantastic if you think about it.